Hello and welcome back to the channel. Yes guys, today we are here with the actual aired pilot of the first ever episode of Doctor Who, An Unearthly Child. The reason I say the actual aired episode is because we did already do what I thought was the first episode of Doctor Who. Turns out it was and it wasn't. It was in the fact that it was An Unearthly Child and it was the first episode of Doctor Who, but it wasn't the first aired episode. It was the unaired version that was filmed, which was their original take, but there was too many flaws, so they decided to refilm it. From little snippets of this that I've just sort of browsed through to double check there is the right version. But yeah, I don't know everything there is to know about Doctor Who. I love the new Who episodes, and I've seen, as far as I know, all of them, but I haven't seen any of classic Who. So what I wanted to do is go back and start from scratch and watch the entirety of classic Who. Also, before we start, if you want to go and follow me over on Letterboxd, then feel free to, because I put my watch list up there of the things that I want to watch, things that I have watched, and I also add your requests to that list. And if you've got anything you'd like me to watch as a request, then please feel free, let me know in the comments below. Also, I have a Patreon, so if you want to go and check out the full unedited reactions over there, you can do, as well as a plethora of other benefits as well. Anyway, without further ado, let's watch. Now we're talking. Yes, it's the theme that scared millions. I don't remember there being smoke before. Still got the theme playing in the background. There's the I Am Foreman sign, a bit more centralised this time. I wonder if this was filmed at a different time, because everything looks slightly different to what it did before. There's the TARDIS. I have two, though. I prefer the intro shot from the unaired episode, and it doesn't have the St. John's ambulance on that door. Did I miss it?
Oh yeah. Not gone yet.
Obviously not.
Well, ask a silly question.
Oh, it's one of the girls, Susan Foreman.
Susan Foreman? She knows more science than I'll ever know. She's a genius. So your problem is whether to stay in business or hand over the class to her.
No, not quite.
What then?
Well, I told you how good she is at history. I had a talk with her and I told her she ought to specialize. Well, she seemed quite interested till I said I'd be willing to work with her at her home.
This one's a little bit more better laid out.
I decided to have a talk with this grandfather of hers and tell him to take some interest in her.
Oh, did you indeed? And what's the old boy like?
I got her address from the secretary, 76 Totters Lane, and I went along there one evening. There isn't anything there. It's just an old junkyard. There's a big wall on one side, houses on the other, and nothing in the middle. And this nothing in the middle is number 76 Totters Lane.
Well, we'll have to find out for ourselves, won't we?
Thank you for the we.
Ask her point blank.
No, I thought we could drive there, wait till she arrives and see where she goes.
There's subtle differences so far. The majority of it is the same. Yeah, I wonder if they filmed these at the same time. I think I prefer the other version of her listening to music as well.
Susan?
Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Wright. I didn't hear you coming in.
Who?
It's John Smith and the Common. They've gone from 19 to 2.
She's not as mysterious in this version either.
Is that the book you're promising me?
Yes.
Thank you very much. It will be interesting. I'll return it tomorrow.
Oh, that's not necessary. Keep it until you've finished it.
I'll have finished it.
I'm giving Miss Wright a lift. I've room for one more.
No, thank you, Mr. Chesterton. I like walking through the dark. It's mysterious.
Be careful, Susan. There'll probably be fog again tonight.
No. They changed it, the whole fog line. It made more sense with the fog there being mysterious. The fog makes more sense. And then they mentioned the fog in her line instead.
That's not right.
That's an addition.
You can't justify curiosity.
But her homework.
The truth is, we're both curious about Susan, and we won't be happy until we know some of the answers.
The lighting's also better on their faces as well.
I thought you agreed she was a bit of a mystery.
Yes, but I think you'll find there's a very simple explanation to all this.
Slightly underlit though.
She said she thought we were on the decimal system. The United States has a decimal system. You know perfectly well that we do not.
Of course, the decimal system hasn't started yet.
Nothing about this girl makes sense. For instance, the other day I was talking about chemical changes. I'd given out the litmus paper to show cause and effect.
And she knew the answer before you'd started.
They only act in relation to each other.
But that's the whole point of the experiment, Susan.
Well, I'm not trying to be rude, but couldn't we deal with two active chemicals?
It's also different that I said before that it was a first-person camera, but it's not. It's like the camera is on his chest. She's still looking at his eyes.
I'd set the class a problem with A, B, and C as the 3 dimensions. D and E do the problem that's set, Susan.
I can't, Mr. Chesterton. You can't simply work on 3 other dimensions.
3 of them? Time being the 4th, I suppose. Then what do you need E for? What do you make the 5th dimension?
Space.
Much prefer that one.
So we have a 15-year-old
The
girl
softer space.
who is absolutely brilliant at some things and excruciatingly bad at others.
Sorry guys, I know I'm saying a lot of this in relation to the unaired one that I've already previously seen, but
I feel frightened, as if we were about to interfere in something that is best left alone.
yeah, that kind of makes more sense. She doesn't look as scared, and she now chews gum. Yeah, this bit's a lot better because it shows them looking around it a bit more.
What a mess. I'm not turning over any of this stuff to find her.
And the fact that the TARDIS is in the background the whole time as well.
I've dropped it.
What?
Oh, never mind.
Susan?
Susan!
Apart from the lines, this is kind of the same, this bit.
Look at this.
It's the TARDIS.
What, it's a police box? What on earth's he doing here? I mean, these things are usually on the street.
Yeah, see, there's no...
Oh, feel it. Feel it, you feel
Oh,
it?
it is there. Sorry. The St. John's ambulance sign, it is there.
It's not connected to anything, unless it's through the floor.
Makes more sense as well that he walks around it.
Wait.
There you are, Grandfather.
That makes more sense. He opens the door partly and then quickly shuts it when he hears something.
What do you want?
One of our pupils, Susan Foreman, came into this yard.
Really? In here? Are you sure?
Yes.
One of their pupils, not the police then.
I beg your pardon?
Yeah.
Why were you spying on her? Who are you?
We heard a young girl's voice call out to you.
Your hearing must be very acute. I didn't hear anything.
It came from in here.
Is it reasonable to suppose that anybody would be inside a cupboard like that? I wonder why I've never seen that before.
Oh, this bit's different.
We're 2 of her teachers from the Coal Hill School.
Something completely random.
Oh, I'm afraid it's none of my business. I suggest you leave here.
Not until we're satisfied that Susan isn't here. And, frankly, I don't understand your attitude.
Oh, yours leaves a lot to be desired.
Will you open the door?
There's nothing in there.
Then what are you afraid to show us?
Afraid? Oh, go away.
I think we'd better go and fetch a policeman.
Very well.
And you're coming with us.
Oh, am I?
I think I prefer this incarnation of the Doctor. Not quite as mysterious, but he's a bit more laughy and jokey. And
That was Susan's voice.
Of course it was. Susan! Susan!
Don't you think you're being rather high-handed, young man? You thought you saw a young girl into the yard. You imagine you heard her voice. You believe she might be in there. It's not very substantial, is it?
But why won't you help us?
I'm not hindering you. If you both want to make fools of yourselves, I suggest you do what you said you'd do. Go and find a policeman.
Oh, you nip off quietly in the other direction.
Insulting.
look to the camera there.
Come on, Barbara.
What are you doing out there?
She is in there!
Close the door!
Also, in this one, you can't see the inside of the TARDIS. But the light from the inside of the TARDIS, which I preferred, instead of stepping into darkness and then, whoop, you're in the light. Oh, Ralph is different as well.
Susan?
Yeah. Doors actually work this time as well.
What are you doing here?
They must have followed you. That ridiculous school.
But it was just a telephone box.
Perhaps.
It was a police telephone box. I walked all round it. Barbara, you saw...
There you go, that line makes more sense for this one.
I know this is absurd,
Dear. This is very...
Oh, you'll see the mic in the background though, but...
Oh, you wouldn't understand, of course.
but I want to understand.
Yes. You don't understand, so you find excuses. Illusions, indeed.
I love all the little looks to camera.
But you've discovered television, haven't you?
Yes?
Then by showing an enormous building on your television screen, you can do what seemed impossible, couldn't you?
Well, yes, but I still don't...
I can see by your face that you're not certain. You don't understand. I knew you wouldn't. Never mind. Now, which switch was it? No. The point is not whether you understand. What is going to happen to you?
Are they little fourth wall breaks he does?
Don't tell everybody about the ship now.
Chip?
To talk to them, but also the audience at the same time.
It moves?
The TARDIS can go anywhere.
TARDIS?
Well, I made up the name TARDIS from the initials, time and relative dimension in space.
Yeah, she's a little bit more human in this one.
It looks like a police box standing in a junkyard. It can move anywhere in time and space.
Yes.
Quite so.
But that's ridiculous.
Well, now, don't get exasperated, Susan. Remember the Red Indian. When he saw the first steam train, his savage mind thought it an illusion too.
You're treating us like children.
Am I?
That line was new, though.
Insulted.
Your
By the
civilization?
comparison? Yes, my civilization.
Mm.
Have you ever thought what it's like to be wanderers in the fourth dimension? One day.
The one thing I would say, though, is you can hear the studio and the gallery itself. I'm assuming through their earpieces, but...
He can't keep us here.
Susan, listen to me. Can't you see that all this is an illusion? It's a game that you and your grandfather are playing, if you like, but you can't expect us to believe it.
It's not a game. But look, I love your school. I love England in the 20th century. The last 5 months have been the happiest of my life.
But you are one of us. You look like us. You sound like us.
I was born in another time.
This all makes more sense because the previous one she mentions the 20th century, but that was the first mention she'd really said that she's not really of this world, and they don't really say anything about it. Whereas in this one, he already mentions it, so it's not quite as much of a blow.
I know that free movement in time and space is a scientific dream I don't expect to find solved in a junkyard.
Your arrogance is nearly as great as your ignorance.
Will you open the door? Open the door! Susan, will you help us?
I mustn't.
I'll have to risk it myself.
I can't stop you.
No.
I don't touch it, it's live! Here, Grandfather, let them go now,
And
please.
by tomorrow we should be a public spectacle. They're bound to make some sort of a complaint to the authorities. If I do let them go, Susan, you realize, of course, we must go too.
I want to stay. All you've got to do is often to promise to keep our secret, and
It's out of the question.
I won't leave the 20th century. I'd rather leave the TARDIS than you.
Now you're being sentimental and childish.
No, I mean it.
Then you must go with them.
Oh, that's a different ending. Oh, and okay.
No!
Let me go.
I was going to say, that's a different ending. It's an alien planet. I say, boy. I wonder if they end it the same as well. Ah, they do. Well, they have this shot anyway. Oh, and they mentioned the next episode as well. So, yes, obviously this was the one that they made and went, right, okay, we do have another episode now. This obviously wasn't the one that they had just sent to the BBC. This is officially the first one that was aired. So at least we know that this definitely is the right one, because they mentioned the next episode. So, you know, I've not really got much else to say because a lot of that was similar to the first version of it that we watched. Obviously, there are massive differences in production value and shots and the design of things, like the way that it's been planned out of them, you know, walking into a room and the camera will move here and there. All of that kind of set plan type stuff has changed because characters move in different places. The cameras are a lot more locked off in some of the areas as well. This is probably the most technical I've got on this channel, but I'm into this kind of thing, and having worked in TV studios and that kind of thing, its script was almost identical. There were things in there that were additional, like the bit towards the end about Susan leaving the TARDIS. All in all, brilliant episode, loved it, and I'm glad that we finally watched the very, very first aired episode of Doctor Who. If you want to check out my reaction to the original, the unaired version, which I thought was the first, that's on the channel as well, and I've got plenty of other things I've reacted to, including The Power of the Doctor, which was the newest episode, or as of filming this, it was the newest episode anyway. I am planning on watching the other classic Who's and then potentially then moving on to the newer Who's. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and if you like this, then please subscribe to the channel and like the video for more things like this, because I do react mainly to movies but also to shows as well. You can check out my Patreon, which is patreon.com/movies with Marty, and over there you've got my fully unedited reactions, including some MP3 downloads of reactions as well, and other versions, and I'm also going to try and get some earlier reactions on there as well, so you'll get the first access to those. Thank you so much. Also, feel free to go and check out my Letterboxd profile and follow me on there, because that's where you'll see the watch list of the things that I am going to watch and the things that I have watched. And you can also request your films and shows in the comments below as well. Take care, guys, stay safe, and keep being timey-wimey. That's something I've just said for this video, and for the rest of the Doctor Who videos I might say that. Stay safe, take care. Bye-bye, guys.